We're going to delve into cartoon takes and how to get accents. In this session, we'll concentrate on the takes. This is the basic pattern of a cartoon take. A person sees something surprising, goes down to anticipate the accent, which pops up, and then he settles. Sees, goes down, goes up, settles. Here are a bunch of formulas and variations of Hollywood takes that they worked out in the 1930s and 40s. Takes. Takes. This is, takes. I have to get my brain back into this business. Takes are obviously, double takes, triple take, takes or double take, or triple take. Takes. These are formulas which they developed in Hollywood. I'll give you, these are Hollywood issue takes. Here's the standard Disney take formula. I'll give you timings on these things which will work, but you can vary them. I mean, there's no set rule. This is drawing one. Down here is a sort of squash drawing. This is number 3. This one is number 6. I'll circle these just for clarity. And then back here, he settles back down. Okay. The rule in a Hollywood squash, an effective one, whether you do it subtly or horribly crudely like this, is to keep the same amount of meat in the head. Same mass in the head anyway. Okay? So however they distort it, that should have the same, what do you call it, circumference? Volume. Same volume, mass, volume, however you distort it. Okay, and the timing on this is 1, 2, just smack in the middle. There's no easing out. You just go straight into that one. And then you go 3, 2, 6 is 4, 5, 6. So you'd have 5 would be in the middle, going up. That'd be 5, and 4 would be here. 2 would be there. I would keep the eyes shut, actually, personally, all the way up, just so that you get a pop. And this just looks like you got electrocuted. They go, oh, and they're immediately cushioning down. So this is number 10. And there's 6, 7, 8, 9. So you'd be 6 and 7. I would keep the mouth open on that one. Getting smaller slightly. 8. 9. Okay, that's your standard Disney. Well, I think the Warner Brothers one is a little different. That's your standard Disney take. Down on 2s, up on 1s, and down on 2s. Now here's a slight variation on it. We go down on ones with more drawings, up on ones, 2 frames at the top, and continuing down on 2s again. Here's the same thing with a full figure. We've added some extra drawings as he settles. Okay, can I change it now? Okay. We're going to make this one number 8. Nine, 10, 11, 12, keeping the same timing. We're just going to alter, so this becomes 12 here. And we're going to have 4 drawings. We could do it like this, or we could do it even. 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, good. Oh, good. That's what to do. You don't need the other. That's going to work great. Okay? And on the going up drawings, in the middle, that's going to be 6. It's going to be another one, 7 there. Another one, 5. This should be bigger. 5. And 4. Okay? What we do is number 4 is a drawing like this. He's got his head over here, like this. Looks like this. Okay? 4. 5, you push the head the other way. It's just like that. Okay? 6 is back this way. 6 will be back this way. 7 back over here. Okay? 7. Closer. Pop. So you get a immediately down, which you'll hardly see, and then out, boom, 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 cushion. So, boom, boom. What they would also do when they got up there, Babbitt worked this one out, they would have the arms, once it was settled down, you'd have an arm go this way, around that way, and the other arm do this, going around that way. We've used the wobble head going up to the top, and we've added the flailing arms countering each other. So we now can see the Warner Brothers take is a little different. Here's the rabbit. However he is. Here's the down, which is this is number 1. The arms might go up like that, although not necessarily. That's number 4. Down. And 5 is the actual take. And then that's 5. And then you cushion down to the to number 9. Oh, I see. Here's the chart on that. It's 1 to 4 is the cushion, and then you pop into 5. Okay? 5 then goes 6, 7. It's even.
Here's the same thing with a mouse. All shot on 2s. Here's a variation on the same pattern.
I don't like takes, and when I first learned these from the various guys, I had trouble with them. Because I didn't like the squash and stretch too much, and my prejudice. But I got a commercial. It was called Super Can. It was a sort of silly, looked like a Marvel comic thing, and this Superman was called Super Can, and it was special soup or something. He drove up in a car. A butler opened the door, and he got out, and he ran up. Another butler opened the door of a mansion. He ran into the kitchen where this duchess is eating soup, surrounded by butlers, and her husband's the other end. And I forget what happened. They sent for Super Can, you see. And I did 19. I said, I'm going to study takes on this commercial. I did 19 takes. I had Super Can drive up, and he did a take when he saw the butler. Guy opened the door, and he saw Super Can. He did a take. Ran upstairs, the butler opened the big door, and he did a take. Ran into the room, the lady's eating soup, and she did a take. And the butler, or her husband behind her, he did a take. I forget what happened, but I got 19 of these. And I tried, I think, 8 Disney takes and 8 Warner takes. And then I mixed them up a bit, and the Disney take was best. But it's worth trying, messing with these things. There's a very small difference between these two takes. The Warner Brothers takes pop up from the squash position to the surprise position, and then they ease down. In the Disney take, you in between your way up from the squash position to the top surprise position and ease down. Disney was working to make impossible things believable, heading for naturalism. Disney called it the plausible impossible. So they worked to make things more natural, more subtle, but believable. All the information that they developed spilled over to the smaller studios like Warner and MGM, who had less money, but just went for stuff that was direct and comic. Cruder, but funnier. Let me show you the Warner one again, done real crude. Number 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, here's 4. Over it is. Squash more. 4. 5. Right, 1 to 4. Yeah. 1 to 4. 5, we pop into 5 and settle back down. To 11. The same. Here's a slightly different spacing. Slightly slower. It's your break now. 6. Oops. That might be a little nicer than just going down like this. So that gives you a little bit more cushion up there and a little bit more down there.
By pushing the nose down further, we get more contrast. Same thing now in profile.
Here's an interesting thing Art Babbitt showed me. He was always going on about delaying parts whenever possible. So he would do his piece of animation and then he would delay parts of it and see what happened. So here's a take of his. The guy, this is 1. And here's his pelvic area. He's going down. This would be 4. This would be 8. Then he settles 12. So the timing would be here. Wait a minute, 1 going to 4. It's a different spacing than the others, different from the Warner. And we go from 4 to 8. And then 8 back to 12. 9, 10, 11. It's good timing that. But what he's done is he pushes the pelvic mass up to the neck. And he would do that. He said, try it. And then when the thing shoots up here, push it down again to below there. Well, it's too big. And then have it settle there.
Here it is on 1s. Very fast. Shoot the same thing on 2s.
And if I were doing this, I would do this thing in here, give it even more. You'd watch that. What's that? 5, 6, 7.
Same thing again with the side-to-side head going up. 1's very fast. And now on 2s.
Again, after the head and body have settled, he would probably have done the arms whipping around, counteraction here. Or his hat flew off up there, and the hat is up here, and as this arm went round, he grabbed the hat.
Here it is in slow motion. Here's one where the belly stays put on the anticipation, and then as we accent up, the belly goes down. As he gets up there, his belly catches up and the feet pedal. Here's a more elaborate one where we anticipate the anticipation. The head goes up before it goes down, and then side to side and up. The belly goes down and then up as the head finally goes down. The belly then settles.
Again, after the head and body have settled, he would probably have done the arms whipping around, counteraction here. Or his hat flew off up there, and the hat is up here, and as this arm went round, he grabbed the hat.
Endless variations. Here it is in slow motion. We've done the take. Now, as he takes his hat off, we can be inventive. It goes up on twos, with a back and forth vibrate on ones. Then the head snaps down on one frame, up with stretched eyes on one. Then the head mass up on one, the head mass down for one, and then settles on twos. You can go mad with endless variations.
So you can see within a simple take, you can get a hell of a lot of mileage out of it. I've done it all from the front. We could do them from the side. I think you've got it.
Would you do anything special on the 8 breakdown on that one?
No. You could do. Why? It's awful fast, but why not try it? Try what you can see. I'm just giving you the raw. We can always throw everything off, and that's why I'm showing you this stuff. You can go on endlessly on these little crutches, different variations. These little formulas and devices are just building blocks on which we can build endless variations. You can throw them away and start fresh, but these are based on principles developed by a lot of very clever people. I saw the most wonderful take in a Danny Kaye film, and It's which film? It's The Court Jester, and Basil Rathbone, the villain. There's about 3 heads of guys. There's a guy here, and there's a guy here, and Basil Rathbone is listening to this guy or something, and he's down here. He's the villain, and he's sort of like that. Something that he's down here listening to this fellow. And he did the most marvelous take. And I thought, it's one frame? He didn't do any anticipate. And it jumped, you had 3 guys to look at. And it was very subtle. All that happened was the head went, didn't even do that. Wait a minute. They were telling him something he didn't like. And he went, and I said, I bet you it's one frame. I bet you it's one frame. And it was marvelous. He's there. There's an in-between. Must be that little here, proportionate to the screen. And the eye is the same. There's no change in the expression. There's one in between there, one frame. The next frame is another in-between. So you have 2 in-betweens going up with no change of expression. The head just goes up sort of to there. And then you had the top of the take. It wasn't even as far up as that. It was actually, I'm exaggerating it. It was to there. And it cushioned back in about 3 or 4 drawings, about that much, to a more relaxed thing and his eyes changed on the up. And it was like an electric shock. And it was so strong, I thought, because there wasn't an anticipate. He's a good actor. He was a great villain, even though he was exaggerating his villainliness. It was just, and you read it like that. I love to get off the formula. Love to see anything that is off the formula. It's only on the formula because we're lazy and habit-riddled, conditioned, and we're afraid to get off and certainly all the executives are afraid of getting this mad artists are going to get off the formula. A very terrific top director, tremendously successful, said to me when he's looking at some of my stuff, he said, this isn't following any known formula, Dick. And I said, well, no, I guess not. I'm just doing it. And he said, He says, maybe that's a good thing. But you do want to be rich, don't you? So off the formula, please. We don't need, all these rules can be ignored.
About the use of squash and stretch, is it safe to try to use it if you're doing something that's not necessarily cartoony and you can sneak it in there to help it out with something, or should the timing and performance and posing be more important? I mean, like if you're animating a realistic object, but you feel it needs more oomph, will you slip in squash and stretch, or will you maybe change how you pose something?
I would try not to. I would, if you were doing a long-headed in-between, if somebody was here and he has to look very quickly over here. Whoops. I would put in what you would put in a motion blur, wasn't it? You put they used to call it a long-headed in-between over there for one frame. I would do that just to get a fast effect.
Let's do it in slow motion. Now, everything on ones. Again. Now, everything on twos. Now we'll use two blurs. The head is on twos, but the blurs are on ones. Again. Now we'll use three blurs. The head is still on twos, but the blurs are on ones. Again. Now on this, we'll use one blur and show it in slow motion. Same thing with two blurs in slow motion. We'll use mostly three blurs on this mouse. Now in slow motion. Ken Harris showed me this hammering action on ones using just three drawings. Same blur coming back as going forward. This is one of the very few cases where you can shoot the sequence in reverse. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, etc.
But I wouldn't put a cartoony thing in the middle of a realistic thing. I put motion blur, if I could get it, but I wouldn't do the cartoony thing. I wouldn't mix the media, if you see what I mean.
Well, because one observation, like in a lot of computers, I see a lot of people take an easy out and they put a squash in when they don't need it.
Yes.
You know, and it makes it look...
Well, that's what I'm trying to undermine all these animators, because they were so conditioned by squash and stretch because of the early cartoons and any of the books written by the old guys who did the early cartoons or something. You really don't need it. And I always tried to avoid it, except in this super can thing. And I did it into the ground. The other interesting thing is nobody noticed I'd done it with that commercial. They just accepted it. There were no changes. And they said, "Ah, that's funny." But these guys all looked like everybody was hitting them with electrodes, electric shocks. 19 electric shocks in 30 seconds. Everybody accepted it. Amazing. But I think when we come to face action, I prefer to call it, instead of squash and stretch, I like to call it compression, which is breaking it's a longer word, which I hate, and distension. I'm going to distend this jaw, right? I'm going to distend it. And I'm going to compress this face. I find if I don't use the word squash and stretch in my head, if I think I'm going to distend this guy's jaw or arms or something, it takes me away from, I don't think, as soon as you say squash and stretch, you think of this rubber duck stuff. Fine, great respect to the rubber duck stuff, but I want to think differently. I want to think of what's actually happening, which you're compressing or you're distending. And it gets you out of the conditioned reflex, out of the habit of thinking that way. We use all these terms like squash and stretch or compression and distension, but they're really just different ways of saying the same thing. Some of these formulas and principles and cliches are really useful, the result of years of experience. The great thing is to learn them, get them into your bloodstream, and then you can extend on them. And then you can throw them away, but you've still got the benefit of the information built in. Next session, we'll deal with more formulas, this time with stagger vibrations, including the best one, which very few people know about. The takes which we've been studying are actually accents, and after vibrations, we'll get more fully into accents, starting with how to accent body actions.